Welcome to Living the Dream Iowa Life. I'm your host, Hannah Nuss, and each weekday we'll share enthusiasm for what's possible and dive into the stories of Iowans living their dream lives right here in the heartland. Whether you're chasing a big goal or just looking for a little inspiration, we've got you covered. Let's change the world together. This is Living the Dream Iowa Life. Let's go. Heyo, welcome to the Death of a Dream podcast with your host, Hannah Nuss. And I feel like it should go without saying, but I also kind of just say it every day. So this is how we start the show. It hasn't always been this way. Because we used to have a different name, different vibe. I don't know that it was a different vibe because it is essentially the same thing. But if you want caught all the way up, when I started this, I was coming off from a conference that the self-help guru that I aspired to be. I mean, really, I was like, I want to do that. Like, I want to change people's lives. I want to be a part of that work. I want to do things like that. And I sat there in disbelief of what they were saying because basically, here's the 5 things that you need to focus on. And they're not wrong, by the way, but I was standing there like, okay, but I need to know the 10 years prior to you being on this stage. And not just the fun, happy, go wash your face and take care of yourself version. Like, literally, what did you do? What did you do? Where did you struggle? Where did you fail? What happened? What did you try? What worked? What didn't work? Everybody's different, right? So like, how do I know that your 5-step plan is going to work for me? And they would stand there and say, well, it's probably not going to work for most of you, but some of you are going to take this and you're actually going to run with it. And I took it and ran with it as a hypothesis, essentially. Okay. If you can just do your dreams, then I'll be able to do them from wherever I am. If all it takes is what you say, is moving towards them, then I'm going to start moving. And someday I'll write books on this, like once I get there. And instead of only being able to sum it up in this like book that I nicely polished and wrote according to how these books sell, right? Like, here you go. Here's the exact plan of how to change your life. Da-da-da. That would make you buy it, right? No, I wanted to really test this. It wasn't okay. It wasn't so much I'm going to be a podcaster and I'm going to be a self-made self-help guru. It was all right, I don't believe you, gurus. And to challenge what you're saying, I'm going to get curious about the facts that you keep pointing out. Okay, it takes this. It takes going after your dreams. Okay, so I'll start. So I started with this podcast. All right, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I know that I enjoy talking about things. And so that is what we'll do every day. We'll come back here, we'll talk about the things, and I'll figure out how to do my dreams, I guess. I'll do that out loud. And so that someday it's not just me like recapping the 10 years of struggle in a chapter. It's me actively living it out and then being able to, what I now know, is write that in real time because I have literal notes. I have every day of podcasts from each year. Yes, my friends, we are headed into the 7th year of this show. So all of those podcasts, that's all hard fought daily work. And the only time that we took off was essentially the last 6 months when I had this like near death experience and could have gone a million different ways and didn't. And I couldn't get my brain to work the way that I am used to it working. And so we had to pause the show and I had to pause my life and really get I don't know, come to terms with the fact that this can all be taken away. So when we sit and we're like, I have to pay for my kids this, or I have to go to this, or I gotta pay for this. Like this morning, I was lifting and I was like, how many people would give everything they have to have kids that they could put in ballet? And not even specifically that, but I was just thinking about like how many kids would kill to be on the teams that my kids get to be on. How many kids would just live for that experience, and here we are like completely taking that for granted, just being like, man, we're so blessed in life that we can give our kids this super exclusive experience with these amazing professionals that we trust them with to like safely guide them into adulthood, and like that we can even put them in a trusting situation that we I don't know, like, yeah, what a blessed world we live in. And I definitely was not headed in that direction prior to starting this. We were going to be the couple that was going to like work tooth and nail to give our kids opportunities that we never had. To make sure that they showed everyone how amazing our family is and how amazing we are, and to like make the team and do the thing and rah, 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 yeah, we're amazing. You see what club team my kid's on? You see that? You see everything that they've won? You see these medals? You see these trophies? You feel that? Huh? Yeah. I mean, we were undoubtedly going down that road. We both came from families like that, and I don't know that mine was so. I feel like they were actually rather indifferent, but when I started kind of getting successful in athletics, it was like, oh, we kind of got something here, and I think that was the kind of power up moment for our family. It was probably the first time in a while that anybody had been really good at something, and it was sort of this resurgence. And it's hard to not get lost in your ego in that, because my family was just kind of like, oh, okay. I mean, this kid might do something. I don't know. That's kind of crazy, because it really wasn't all that intentional. It was kind of just like, here you go. Keep yourself busy, third child. I don't know. How do you plan on getting yourself to practices? How do you plan on making this athletic thing happen for yourself? Like, how do you do that? And I don't know, now it's just this reality of what that experience actually is. And we had put that, I know my family, we had put that on such a pedestal of like, this would be you becoming something. If you did this, it meant you were something in this world. And because I didn't, I think, I was like, well, then I'm just nothing. And now, right, I have to go prove that my kids are something. The same way that, that was kind of my lot in life, prove that I'm something. So my parents have something to take to Thanksgiving and brag about. And, I'm hoping that we can just put our kids in a place of like, you matter. You matter. Not assigned to any accomplishment, not assigned to anything. You just matter for the pure sake of mattering. And I want to surround you with humans who believe that you matter, who contribute to your story, wherever it is, in a positive light, in a beautiful way, they're not in a place where they need to take that, the power of you, they don't have to steal that away because they don't have enough. They can just let you be in your power place, and they can help add blocks to that. And I don't know. I know at the start of this show, there was so much accountability and work and real conversations that I had to have with myself. And it wasn't fun. It wasn't pretty. And more than anything, I thought it was all BS. I was like, yeah, okay, self-help gurus. You can just work on your dream and you'll just get there. Okay, you'll be led. Your intuition will lead you, and then you'll get where you're trying to go. It'll all happen. And totally obnoxiously, there is about 1.5 years of truly just following my intuition, getting back into my gut, getting back into kind of letting that lead. And I know for most of that season, I was like, I know this is super hippy dippy flippy, and I'm sorry. And some of it I didn't even share. So I'm excited to kind of bring that to life. The second book has a piece of the end of, or the beginning of that spiritual journey, which I really didn't talk about a lot on the podcast just because I don't know. I live in the Midwest, and there are just things that we don't explore here. There are very specific ways that life is to be done, and that's what we talk about. And we don't talk about the other things because that would make us weird, or that would make us whatever we want to be, right? Like, steer away. And so at that point, I wasn't kind of strong enough in my own knowing to feel comfortable bringing that to the show, but I am excited to bring it to life. Definitely in the second book towards the end, and then most of the third book is going to be about that. Definitely hippy dippy flippy. I got to get through this. I got to get wherever I'm going to get, because if I don't, I'm not going to survive this. And I don't want to be that extreme. I don't want to be that dramatic, but literally, Hannah, you won't survive this if you don't go down this path. And what was I not survive? Like, you're going to die? What's going to happen? And I don't know. I just knew that like, I had to try to get to this next level. Whatever that felt like. Then I would spend basically, after that third year, the next 2 years running from that with everything that I had, while at the same time sort of in the trajectory of the evolution of what this was all supposed to look like. And there was no running anymore. Like, I had become that person, and I had to sort of relive those lessons to get to this place. And I know some self-help spiritual gurus will say that you're not tested, and I will say that, fine, we won't call it that so you all feel better. We're not tested, but I do think that we have the opportunity to get it right. And like, we get closer and closer to the finish line every time that we sort of stop the story short. We don't want to hear that. Anytime that we're like, I'm not going to evolve past this, I know what you're saying, but I'm just going to stay here because it's comfortable, and I like it, and I like the way that it feels, and I don't want to go any further. And the universe is sort of always pushing us further, and it comes in all different ways, and usually it's some sort of disruption. And so we'll say, oh, okay, that's just life, that's how life goes. But it is, like, when we start paying attention, it is the tire popping, the job loss, these are the moments of evolution where we should be looking inside ourselves. And the reality is, so many of us, and I'm included, like, I am still learning. I will be forever learning. That's the whole point. Um, but I'm right there with you. Okay? Love you so much. I'm here too. I'm being tested. I'm coming up short. I'm going to keep recycling. Same as all of you. We all are. And I think the whole point is to continue cycling up, to continue getting to that next level. And should you continue working and paying attention and following your intuition, and you'll just keep leveling up, and it won't be a struggle. And I've sort of sat in this past definitely a couple of weeks, because I've been now probably working at a more normal pace for about 2.5, 3 weeks. Finally, about 6 months after the accident. So I've been working at a more consistent pace, feeling more like myself. And I can tell that we're at this, like, it is time portion. I can tell that that accident and everything that transpired after that was like a shake it, don't break it, friend. You got this one life. This is it. And I remember driving through the accident site the next day, which, like, how traumatizing. But there really wasn't a choice. We had to get the car. We had to get the job done. And remember, this is what I'm good at. Like, I remember just like waking the girls up the next morning and being like, I know we were in the emergency room until 3 a.m. You still got to go to school. We got to do all the things. I got to refocus. Like, we got to get back to work. I know that all this happened. It's no big deal. We got to do this. Like, we don't have time to take a break. We definitely don't have time to sit here and think about everything that's terrible that happened in our lives. Like, we got to move forward. And for me, that next day, it was like, you got to go get the rental car. Like, Christmas is next week, bro. What you gonna do without a car? Drive through. And right as I was going through that intersection, and of course you're replaying everything, and like fearfully so, like, please don't be a car at this intersection, dear Lord. Please just stop. Please just use your brakes. Please use your brain. Please see me. See me. See me. I am right here. And as I'm driving through there, I'm just blinded with fear. But on the way home through that same intersection, but on a different side of the highway, I'm just overcome with this reality as I come over the hill and I see the site, and I still see some of the shrapnel from all of that, like just little pieces, right? Because they cleaned it all up, but I could still see that something had happened there, that there were tire marks, that there was the reality of something big happening there. And as I come over the hill and I see that, and the sun's shining, and I'm just overcome by emotion. And that emotion basically just said, like, you're still here. You're still here. And you are about 3 seconds away from that being very different, and not just you, but your 2 kids. And what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Same as how I started this, right? Like, what am I doing? I'm going to sit here and complain about having this beautiful brain and these beautiful opportunities and all of this technology and access, and I'm gonna be like, but I couldn't, and I'm gonna fight against that ease. And we just got back from a trip, and I'm gonna talk about that in the next episode, but we just got back from a trip, and I think the whole thing was about just giving into the ease. And I have been taught my whole life to not trust that ease. I mean, my dad's literal saying in life, well, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. Right? And there's a piece of that in me that's like, well, if it's easy, if it came too easy, then we should definitely question it. We should question it. And I realized while I was on this trip that, like, if it comes easy, that's the experience that I want. Why would I want the struggle, the strife, the fight, the grind like I have been grinding? And that's not to say that I want to sit back and I'm not going to do the work. Like, I'm going to work, but I'm going to work in this like loving whole pattern. I love doing this show. I have loved it for 7 years. There has not been a morning, well, there might have been some, but most mornings I'm like ready to get on here and ready to have a discussion with you. I don't know where it's going to go. Actually, when I started this exact recording this morning, I was like, oh, it will just go in the direction of, we're going to talk about the trip, we're going to talk about learnings there. And then I got on and I was just like overtaken by this, whatever this message is, right? Like this idea that I didn't want to be this self-help guru that sat up on a stage one day and told you that there are 5 specific steps that'll save your life. And if you follow them, then you'll be saved and you'll never have to go through any struggle. And while I am finally in this like acceptance of ease era, 7 years of fighting that, of fighting that reality, of fighting my Midwest upbringing that says that we work hard for everything that we do. And we don't just accept the easy route. And we don't just... And I think over the last year, there have been multiple presentations of that struggle and that commitment to that struggle and that lack of ease, and that there has to be tension or tug and pull. And there doesn't. And I can't remember what I read today. Maybe it was yesterday. But there's something that was just like, we can just allow it to be lovely. It really doesn't have to be this struggle, strife, heartache. We can allow it to be lovely. And for me, I allow things to be lovely for people around me. Like, I think that life should be lovely for my husband because he's gorgeous and he's smart and he's talented and he doesn't have to work hard. He works very hard, but he doesn't have to work hard because he's just all of those things. And I think inherently, like, beautiful things just happen for him because he's just that talented. He's just that person. He just is. There's no denying it. It is just a magnet of, you just want to look at this person. My firstborn is very similar, where you're just like, what? How does a person like that just exist? How can you just be? I mean, I will say when I was 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 and 15 and 16 and 17 and 18 and probably even 19 a little bit, like, it was rough. Those were not my best looking years. Middle school, I don't know how people danced with me at middle school dances. I don't think anyone was like, me, Hannah, I want her, for sure, no question. I think my wit maybe got me some dances, but being all of almost the height that I am now in eighth grade, towering, gangly, towering over most boys, all boys in my entire school. Like I was probably about 5'9" at eighth grade. So yeah, and I had big gap teeth. I had red, scraggly hair, very similar to what it is now. I mean, it's pretty much still it. But I could look back at my photos and be like, what was going on? And my daughter is going to look back on hers and go, oh, I was just gorgeous. Same as my husband. Like, if it was early 2000s, he was a Backstreet Boy. He was in sync. Like, he was just that in middle school. Like, how are you that in your middle school era? Like, he was the most gorgeous version of what a boy could be in middle school and high school at that timeline. Wild. And I suppose my firstborn is as well. And so I have no problem accepting ease for them. Like, that makes sense. This should be easy. And it's not, but they definitely don't have to work as hard as I do. It should be easy. You're just gorgeous. Everything flows to you. What a wonderful way to be. Wow. How amazing that I get to do this life beside you. And then I'm like, but I have to work for everything. I don't have that same ease. And now I'm realizing, but I do. Right? Like, why am I promising myself strife and pain and hard work when I don't promise that for anyone else? And it's sort of this conflicting thing because I do work really hard, but it doesn't feel like work, right? Like, it feels good to my body. It feels good to my soul. This all feels like something I'm supposed to do. And so I suppose for the last 7 years, I've just been going, I don't think this is supposed to feel this good. And so I've been almost inserting painful opportunities so that it didn't feel good. And part of that is just me and needing to be challenged and not wanting to stand still. And I don't know that will ever stop, because I think as I accomplish new things, I am always hungry for more new experiences. But more than anything, I'm just getting into this era of accepting ease, of knowing how I work, how other things work that I'm working on, and getting really into this place of just acceptance and ease and flow. And that sounds super hippy dippy, but literally that is where I was in this life. Like, I got myself there probably 2 years ago, a little before I started local. And I do think that that's where the heart of local was. And then I sort of, as the ease flowed around that, I was like, whoa, stuff like that doesn't happen to me. I don't understand. Like, this can't be my thing. And people who were in kind of those lower base points of living, they would come in and be like, oh, we need to question this ease. I don't understand. And even hate for that ease. And that made it all that much more complicated. And, to get back into that place of acceptance of ease for myself, I think is the ultimate showing of self-love. Like that I will accept a good life for myself and be grateful for it. Because I think forcing myself into this scarce narrative really is the opposite of a grateful narrative, right? Like, if we're like, oh no, it has to be harder than this, we aren't really accepting the fact that this life is meant to be lovely, and it is lovely, and we are living whatever narrative we're supposed to be right now. And it is beautiful. And there are people who don't get these things, and we really should be a lot more grateful and loving and accepting of all of it. And I don't have to stand on a stage and say that there isn't a daily record of everything that I experienced from breaking point to dream life stage, because there is. And that was the whole point. See if you can actually get there just going after your dreams. And see what it actually takes. And then document it all. Live it all out loud. As always, you're smart, you're strong, you're beautiful. What are you going to do? Change the world.